Cool, so this is the semifinals. Apocalypse, who we have seen just blaze through this tournament. He's been doing very well today. Versus RenieHouR, and I have not had the opportunity to watch any of RenieHouR's games, which is a shame, because I would love to see more of his games. But here he is against Apocalypse. Both these players, very high level in terms of HeptaCraft, in terms of StarCraft in general, both Masters players. So this is going to be great. RenieHouR is #1 on the HeptaCraft ladder, and he plays a lot. Apocalypse also plays a lot. He's #3. Bernie's #2, and Apocalypse took him out. Already in the upper left, Apocalypse choosing between Kala, Nerazim, Swarm Covenant. He gets Nerazim. Just kidding. He got Kala this time. Not Nerazim. Again, in the bottom right, choosing between Swarm, Infested, and Covenant. I see Creep. Could it be? It's Infested! An Infested game. I think Infested is the only race we have not seen today, so this is very exciting. So Kala versus Infested. This should be pretty cool. Kala is very, very good at wiping out swaths of units, so we'll see how Infested fares. Infested late game, though, they've got some very, very powerful single units, like Brood Hosts, Brood Lords, and Brood Hosts, both very, very good units. Apparently, roaches have been slightly nerfed for Infested. Now, if you're new to HeptaCraft, I mean, this probably looks very strange to you, because Infested is a Zerg variant race. It's very different from Zerg, it's just because they have Creep. They're different, you know, they still spread with Creep tumors, but everything's based off of your Brood Mother, which actually gives you unlimited production. You just lay eggs with the Brood Mother, and if you can afford it, you can build it. So, but all of their units are very, very weak and cheap until you get to the very, very late game, at which point it doesn't matter what your production is like, it's just whether you can afford them or not. So, their base unit are Roaches, which are kind of a mix between the Vanilla Roach, which is a sturdy early mid-game unit, and the Roach Ling, which is a shitty spawned unit. And basically, the Roaches in HeptaCraft for Infested, how I would describe them, are just a shitty Roach. They're just weak. They're just weak Roaches. They do decent damage, they're kind of equivalent to like a Marine. But you can just make a shit ton of them, and they're very, very good. So apparently they've been nerfed. I don't know what that's all about. We have a fast Cybernetics core. I am very curious, though, to know, see what the Roaches are like this time around. So Renie going ahead and throwing down his expansion, his second Broodhive here. Fast expand. Apocalypse walling up with his first Zealot. Now, Kala functions sort of like StarCraft 1 Protoss. You can't get warp gates. You build everything straight out of your gateway, which I think is pretty cool. It's a nice little callback, and it really, really makes them distinct. It just changes things a lot, and you actually have to be very, very mindful of that. You can't just instantly warp in units to save your ass. Alright, there's the Cybernetics core finishing some cool upgrades there. You can get Singularity Charge, which is old StarCraft 1 Dragoon range upgrade, and then Grid Engine, which allows sentries to move faster. Sentries are definitely changed. Kala have sentries, Nerazim don't. They have permanent Guardian Shield, which reduces all incoming damage by 2, but they are slow as shit. So that's obviously why Gravitic Engine would be a fantastic upgrade to get. Alright, there's the Roach Warren. Pretty low-key game right now. This map it's not small, but it's not huge, so I wouldn't expect to see like an hour-long game on a map like this. But we could stand to see some really cool engagements between these two types of sub-factions. There's the Sentry right there. They also can heal shields. So, no force fields, but you can heal shields. So Sentries are utility still, but in a different way. They're definitely a support unit. They have a shitty Disruption Beam attack. It's okay. And I mean, it's not like the Guardian Shield stacks or anything, so I can't say in good faith that you're going to want to make a shit ton of Sentries because you think they're super good. They're not as good as they seem, trust me. They're also only 40-40, so they're going to go down pretty fast. Here's some egg clusters going down. There is the Roach Warren, which I had already pointed out, and a fast Infestation, and a fast Scrutinizer. So a Scrutinizer is kind of like a little weakened Overseer for Infested. Actually, it was a while back, I think it was the second tournament, it was the first one that I cast, Scrutinizers didn't exist, and we saw maybe 2 or 3 Infested players get knocked out by Dark Templars, so that's when Summerloud decided to give them a flying mid-game detector. So here comes the Scrutinizer, and it's going to come in here and get all the scouting it needs. It's going to see the High Council. He might realize the High Council is researching, which he's getting Zealot Legs. That is not charge, it's old-school Zealot Legs, like from the Citadel of Adun upgrade from StarCraft 1. Again, a lot of these upgrades are what you saw from StarCraft 1. It's in the StarCraft 2 engine, so of course it's not going to play just like StarCraft 1 Protoss, but the feel of it, the idea of the faction is like StarCraft 1. Alright, so both players, pretty fast expand. I mean, for Kala, it's a pretty fast expand, and a third base coming out from Renie. Now, I brought this up a few times, but if you're joining me halfway into the tournament, just want to point out, fast expands aren't really that important. In Legacy of the Void, they are very important, but in HeptaCraft, they're not, because you see how many minerals you start out in your first base. You have a lot of money in your first base, so you can do a lot off of one base. It's not all cheese. You can do some cool stuff on one base and then expand. And the game won't necessarily end because you spent some money on harassment that might fail. Alrighty, so what do you have coming out here? Organic Carapace. I don't even know what this is. 10 life for roaches and +1 armor, and increased life regeneration when burrowed. Is this all only when Oh, excuse me. Weird burp there. Is this only when burrowed? I assume it's 10 life and +1 armor all the time with the increased life regeneration when they're burrowed. We have a Soaring Roost coming out for RenieHouR, which is the equivalent of a Spire for Infested. That's going to be cool to see. And there's the Infestation. Did something happen here? Did he get attacked? Oh, no, that's the Building Egg Cluster. I thought that the Infestation was damaged. We've seen really no aggression from either player. Fast Templar Archives, though, for Apocalypse. I think he knows what's up. He needs that AoE. He's going to get some High Templar. It's going to get some High Templar out, which are going to function very, very well against big groups of roaches like we see right here. We have some Infested Commanders out, which buff units around them with some armor. I think it's armor and attack speed. Movement and attack speed. All right, so here are the roaches. Like I said, they're very weak. They only have 55 health. And this is a very powerful push from Apocalypse with the Sentry, with the shields. And keep in mind the Broodmother can't actually attack. Why? There are so many Infested Commanders. Why are there so many Infested Commanders? And the Infested Commander's actually going to clean this up. Infested Commanders, I've always said, they really just seem like they're... I don't get it. I don't get it. Rainy did this last tournament too. I kept saying like, oh, Infested Commanders, these are all about support. They add this 50% movement and attack speed, but he makes a bunch of them and holds off early aggression like it's nothing. It's awesome to see. Really awesome to see. We have more roaches here. I think the big thing with Infested Commanders is they're not as slow as the roaches when they're off creep. You can see how slow these are. So I'm being told right now that the +1 armor is only when they're burrowed, due to Summer Loud's deep hatred of roaches. Cool. Alrighty, so we've got, this is a nice army here, and if enough of these Infested Commanders survive, the aura will always be up for the roaches. We have an Infestor here that doesn't have enough energy to do anything. No fungal growth, almost enough. If he can keep it alive, he's trying, Apocalypse trying to focus down the Infestor. Here goes the fungal growth, there it is, and you can see the fungal growth. It doesn't stop you in your tracks, it just slows you down, but it does some pretty good damage. And Rainy being very aggressive with these roaches and Infested Commanders. And again, I keep saying, I must just be blatantly wrong with the Infested Commanders. Actually, a great use of drop pods right there and a good stasis field by RenieHouR. Drop pods is an ability RenieHouR can use from his brood hives. It uses all the energy on your brood hive and it costs money, but you can call down some drop pods full of roaches anywhere on the map. So it's something you can't just spam because you need to save up that energy based on your town hall. And then it also costs money. But Apocalypse, a lot of his army getting cleaned up. There's a huge supply discrepancy right here. I don't know what Apocalypse has. Oh, okay. Well, if these can get enough energy, he might be able to hold on. He's also getting the Kadarin Amulet, which I said last tournament, this is the one upgrade that I think might be considered a little too good. Just a little too good. Because the 30% faster energy regeneration is crazy, but RenieHouR is really pushing this really hard. He's also getting the More There Must Be More upgrade, implying that he's going to try to get some Brood Hosts here pretty soon. Glitter Reconstitution only just now finishing. Where are those High Templar? He's got enough to storm. I don't know, though. There's so much here. Whoa, God, one big storm, two big storms, so many roaches going down. That could really turn the tide. The Zealots getting in there. They do have the upgrade that allows them to move faster. They can get on top of the roaches, and just like that, the tables have turned. We do have an Archon on the field right here now as well. I'd like to say I've actually made an impact on this game, because in the last tournament, I suggested to Summerloud, like, man, Archons are expensive. Oh, this poor guy can't fit out here. Archons are expensive, and it feels like they are nothing compared to like a tier 3 type unit similar to an Ultralisk that starts with base +2 armor. So he actually added a Templar Archive upgrade here that gives Archons an extra +1 shield. So it's kind of like a shitty chitinous plating for Archons, which I think is cool. I was thinking maybe even start them with the base +1 shields, but I mean, if you you can have High Templar blow their load all over the battlefield like we just saw and turn the tides. That was awesome. And then still turn them into an Archon. So in that sense, an Archon has way more utility because there are units that can do things before they become an Archon. I also like how big the Archons are. That's really cool to see. Here come some Broodlords, which are going to benefit from the More There Must Be More, because it does increase the Broodlings, and the Brood Hosts, Creepers, Swarmers. But this is pretty scary. Actually going to wipe out the 4th base of Rainy pretty handily right here. How are these upgraded? Yeah, +2 all around. We've got air attacks coming out from Rainy. It looks like he's going to rush to some Broodlords. Oh my god, he already has 4. How did I miss this? Because I was talking about the Archons. But he has 4 Broodlords already. Again, look how huge these are. The late tier units, I do like how Summerlot has scaled them to be huge. It's so fun to see. They're just so much more menacing, and in general, they're just way more powerful. Was there a High Templar here, or did it die? I think it died. And this force is behind enemy lines and almost definitely dead. We have drop pods coming in behind to help wipe out the Zealots that are in the base here, and totally cleaned up from Rainy right there. Apocalypse, he did what he had to do. Look, he was way behind in terms of income and units. He won this engagement, and he had to go. And I agree, he had to try, because if he didn't, he would have just stayed behind in the macro game. And he still has these High Templars so that when this attack comes, he can storm, but he needs an answer to these Broodlords, whether it be Corsairs or lots of Dragoons. He is building a lot of Dragoons, which is what he's going to need, but those will get pretty path blocked by the Broodlings, which is pretty standard, as you would expect from Broodlords. And again, with the More There Must Be More, I think what that allows, basically, it allows the Broodlords to shoot 2 Broodlings at a time instead of 1. I understand in vanilla StarCraft they always shoot 2. It's just about, I think this was just a balanced decision on Summerlot's part, and I think that's pretty cool. More There Must Be More is a Terrazine upgrade. Keep in mind, it's not just something you can get right away. Singularity Charge just now starting. That's going to be absolutely necessary for Apocalypse to wipe out those Broodlords. And I mean, the supply is doubled right now, and we saw Apocalypse have an awesome comeback right there, but this right here, ooh, big storms on the Broodlords too, forcing Rainy to walk away. He can't stop to engage, and now the High Templar is still trying to get in there and storm, but Rainy definitely still with a positional advantage with the Broodlings. These Broodlords are so low, and now there's also a Brood Host, which are basically carriers on the ground. We should have an opportunity to see them attack. Yep, there they go. Those little creepers. They're gonna get out there. These can also attack air. They use they have swarmers to attack air, and they have creepers to attack ground. Very, very, very powerful infested late game unit, which is what I was talking about earlier. Infested, you spam these roaches, they get wiped out by storm, but if you get to late game, this is what you're looking at. Now you have really powerful units that spawn units that are weak. You don't have to build the weak units, you just get them. So Apocalypse now getting more Zealots and more Dragoons. He's trying to get his +3 out. He's getting a Stargate, but it might be a little too late. Oh, but down here, really great harassment here by Apocalypse as he gets some Zealots in here. I don't know if he killed any of these Feederlings. A couple. I mean, workers killed is about even. Let's check the resources lost right now. I mean, for this point in the game, for this amount of resources, this is not huge. Apocalypse definitely behind, but that is not as enormous as I think I expected it to be. All right, more High Templar coming out with Corsairs. Now, Corsairs, they might be able to turn the tide here. He just needs to get some units on top of the Broodlords. They are clumping up a lot, so Corsairs might be able to just burst these down. And RenieHouR, other than the Brood Host, has no way to attack air. What's going on down here? We have a ton of roaches that are trying to smash their way through a round of roaches. And whoa, what are these roachlings? This must be a different upgrade. Upon death, roaches will split into 2 small roachlings. Holy shit, that seems really good. Who said Summerlot hated roaches? That's nuts. A lot of these upgrades are new, which is why I'm not familiar with them, because these have been added over the last few patches in between the last tournament and now. Pretty good storm going down there, but decently dodged. And here are the Corsairs. They're trying to get in there. They don't do a ton of damage, but the Creeper, or excuse me, the Brood Host is sending its swarmers out to do some damage. Good storms going out, but I don't think it's going to be enough, not based on this amount of spawned units, as the natural now of Apocalypse is under siege from these Broodlords. What does he have in his base? Oh, a lot of Locusts going down. Locusts, really, really cheap air unit, or yeah, really, really cheap fast-moving air unit, similar to Cobras that Covenant have. Looked like they all got wiped out there. But I don't know what Apocalypse can do at this point. He's down by so much supply. Yeah, and he GG's. RenieHouR takes game number 1, but that was a great game. We got to see some cool showcasings of both of those races, and Apocalypse with an amazing hold with Storm. That was crazy good.